Every Christmas Eve, my family loses someone. It started when I was 8. My grandmother Beatrice vanished on Christmas Eve, literally while helping Mom stuff the turkey. One moment she was standing at the counter in her holiday apron, laughing about how dry the bird was, and the next, she was gone. The oven was still on. The timer was blinking. Her apron lay crumpled on the tile like a shed skin. We searched the house, the street, the backyard, nothing. The police said adults were allowed to leave. No signs of struggle, no goodbye note. But Grandma Beatrice would never leave her cookies half-baked. Dad told us to carry on with Christmas. People leave, Leo, he said, calmly hanging her stocking. We honor them by continuing. That night, I couldn't sleep. Something felt wrong, not just in our family, but in the air. The next year, it happened again. Uncle Jasper disappeared. He got up to use the bathroom during the game and never came back. His wallet was still on the table. His jacket still hung by the door. Mom cried for days. Dad stared at the Christmas tree and said, "The important thing is, we're still together." By the time I turned 12, it had become a pattern. Aunt Lena vanished while wrapping presents. Cousin Milo disappeared while decorating cookies. Even our dog Buttons vanished from the locked backyard without a sound. Always on Christmas Eve. Always just before midnight. Mom began drinking heavily each December. She'd whisper to herself at meals, counting out loud, "Me, Leo, Nora, your father, 4, still 4. She even kept a tally on a whiteboard, like we were a checklist. While other kids waited for Santa, I waited for someone to disappear. I started sleeping on the floor of my parents' room on Christmas Eve, thinking maybe being close would protect us. Then I met Kala. She was the new girl at school, brilliant, skeptical, and logical. The kind of person who asked questions instead of believing stories. When I finally told her what happened each Christmas, I expected her to laugh. She didn't. She pulled out a notebook and said, "Has anyone ever stayed up all night, watched it happen?" I hadn't. No one had. That year, Kala convinced my parents to let her sleep over for holiday bonding. But we weren't watching movies. We were hiding in the hallway closet, peering into the living room. My sister Nora was wrapping gifts on the carpet. Mom paced anxiously. Dad sat in his armchair, reading without turning pages. At 11:47 p.m., Dad stood. Nora looked at him and smiled, but it was blank. Her eyes were wide and her face wrong, like a mask. He opened the basement door. Nora followed, silent and smiling. Kala grabbed my arm. "We go now." We crept after them. The air was heavier than usual, like something ancient was waiting below. We heard voices coming from the basement, not just Dad's, but others. Beatrice, Jasper, Lena. We cracked the door open. They were all there, sitting in a circle around an old chest that pulsed with green light. Their eyes were foggy, their faces eerily calm. Their mouths moved, but the words didn't sound right. It was like watching sleepwalkers speak. Dad stood in the center, holding a black leather book, chanting in a language that felt like it scraped the inside of your head. Mom appeared behind us. I thought she'd scream, but she didn't. She whispered, "He inherited it from his father. The chest chooses someone every year. I've been pretending not to know. I was hoping someone would figure it out." That's when Nora screamed. Not the blank, smiling version. This was real, full of fear and pain, like something inside her had cracked. Kala called the police. I ran down the stairs and kicked the chest as hard as I could. It groaned like metal and flashed blinding green. Dad yelled, "It chooses! I'm just the vessel." The others blinked. Their eyes began to clear. One by one, they looked around in shock, like they were waking up from a long nightmare. The police arrived minutes later. Everyone was alive but shaken. None remembered what had happened. They described shadows, whispers, coldness, but nothing concrete. Dad was arrested. We smashed the chest and burned what was left. Now I'm 23. Kala and I are engaged. We don't celebrate Christmas anymore, but sometimes, late at night in December, just past midnight, I swear I still hear that chanting. And sometimes, it says my name.